Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
T-minus 3, 2, 1,
Trash Panda Nation, ignite the fun. Let's rock.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas return home for a 3-game homestand on the 4th of July for a weekend full of fun here at Toyota Field. All 3 games Thursday, Friday, and Saturday close out with the best fireworks show in the Rocket City. Plus, the Tennessee Titans will be in attendance on Friday, giving away footballs to the first 1,000 fans. Get your tickets for the Trash Pandas Independence Day celebrations now at tptix.com.
Because you want to hear bacon and eggs on your outdoor griddle, not the scraping of rust. Introducing the Weber Slate Rust-Resistant Griddle. Stays ready, not rusty, with a carbon steel cooktop, pre-seasoned and ready to cook on right out of the box. The Weber Slate heats evenly edge to edge up to 500 degrees. All you'll hear is the gasp of amazement from friends and family when you serve the food. Cooking with the Weber Slate Rust-Resistant Griddle just sounds delicious and tastes even better.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Experience Alabama's super speedway on the water as Gunners of Lake Hydrofest returns June 29th and 30th.
Catch 2 days of fast-paced action as drivers chase speed records on the South's fastest water. 5 classes of race boats will compete, including the H1 Unlimiteds, with speeds pushing up to 200 miles an hour. You won't want to miss this summer's most exciting event on Gunners of Lake. More than just boat racing. The event venue includes kids' water slides, food trucks, custom motorcycles and Jeeps, and interactive displays. Tickets start at just $15 a day for a day pass and $5 for children ages 6 to 12. 5 and under are free, making it the perfect weekend for families. Thursday night, June 27th, head to the City Harbor at 6 p.m. for the ultimate street party, where you can get up close and personal with drivers and race boats and grab team merchandise. The best way to kick off your Hydrofest weekend. Gunners of Lake Hydrofest. Come see it for yourself. More information at gunnersoflakehydrofest.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Only appropriate that we are here at Woody Anderson Ford to start off this new week as we're in the showroom. And there's plenty of traffic here in the showroom.
There is a lot of traffic.
How are you, Wes?
I'm doing good. Got some picture takers out here.
Hey, you know what? That's worth taking a picture right there. It's a Mustang right in front of us.
Yes.
And, of course, we also have the Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech always in the house here. So come on by. There is a lot to get into. We do have a shortened show because it looked for a long time yesterday as if the Aggies were going to wrap it up, even though they were only up 1-0. But all of a sudden, the long ball featured late by the Vols, and a 2-spot, I believe, in the 7th, and another 2-spot in the 8th. And lo and behold, we've got a series deciding game going on tonight, game 3.
Wouldn't you say that Tennessee has the
advantage?
Yes.
It seems that way, but it's really anybody's guess at this point. Yesterday was the first game that Texas A&M lost this entire NCAA tournament. They went through their regional perfect. They went through their supers perfect. They went through their bracket perfect. But they that was their first loss.
So that's what I'm saying. I just think that, it's a big ask, that momentum in baseball.
It is. It is. Like, you're only as good as your next arm, and we'll see what kind of pitching we'll see here tonight, whether or not we get home run derby or another 4-1 game. So,
well, of course, Tennessee scored on 2 home runs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they're kind of like that's their bread and butter.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I don't know who's pitching though.
I was trying to find that answer. I've got the game notes in front of me. I've got the projected starters. This is from Texas A&M. It is Chris Stamos from the Vols. He's 3-0 with a 4.26 ERA. Has struck out 35, only walked 16 in 31 2/3 innings pitched. And then Ryan Prager is going for the Aggies. This is his 19th game of the year. He has an ERA of 2.88, struck out 118, only walked 20. That is a heck of a ratio there for Ryan, who is on the mound for the Aggies. So you'll hear more of that. In fact, we have given you just about every game with the exception of that Monday night a week ago. And because we were airing the Woody Anderson Ford Rocket City Awards presented by the Huntsville Sports Commission. That was a week ago, and what a night that was there at Mars Music Hall. And it was packed to the gills, and actually we're looking at doing it bigger and better next year.
Always bigger and better.
Yeah, no, it's but that was a lot of fun, honoring a lot of very worthy individuals.
No question about that.
Here in North Alabama. All right, so there is plenty of places to start, but I thought I'd start here. There is a story that I noticed over the weekend. The ESPN FPI came out with your top 10 teams that will have the best regular seasons in terms of their strength of schedule. And the top 10 may not be the top 10 that you're thinking or that I'm thinking. And this is the ESPN computer model predicting the country's 10 most dominant teams.
So what we need to do is go look at back last year and see what they said.
Number 1 is Georgia. Number 2 is Oregon. Number 3 is Texas. Number 4 is Ohio State. Number 5 is Alabama. 6 is Penn State. 7 is Notre Dame. 8 is Oklahoma. 9 is Tennessee. And 10 is Missouri. Again, I say this is ESPN's computer model predicting the 10 most dominant teams with the schedule that they have in front of them. We shall see. Just interesting that we have not talked too much about Tennessee. And I realize...
So I'm just interested in how their defense is going to be. They lost pretty much their whole secondary transfer.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's hard to predict. You got a guy that started one game. I haven't really looked at their schedule. I think that Tennessee has a really good football coach.
Heupel.
Yeah, but I don't know the defensive wise how they'll be. It's kind of hard to predict that the way.
Well, I know they've got a big one early at Oklahoma, but the full schedule for the Volunteers and what is this is year 4?
Yeah.
This is year 4 for Josh Heupel up there on Rocky Top. They host Chattanooga. That's in Neyland, and then they go to Charlotte to take on NC State. Then they come back home for Kent State, then at Oklahoma, at Arkansas, host Florida, host Bama, host Kentucky, host Mississippi State. That's a long homestand. And then at Georgia, host UTEP, and then at Vandy. So Florida, Bama, Kentucky, Mississippi State. That's 4 straight home games. I can't remember the last time I saw 4 straight home games for any SEC team.
I think Auburn had one last year. They had a bunch of.
Well, I mean, conference games.
Oh yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
lot. Yeah, that's a lot, no question.
So that is the schedule for Tennessee, and I mean, really, it does come down to Nico and what kind of development we see on him. A 9-win season last year.
Well, I mean, it doesn't do any good. Nico scores 40 and they get 45.
We saw that at LSU
last year. So I don't think it just falls on Nico. I think without Nico, it's bad. If he were to not live up to expectation, the defense might be better than I know. So, you know, I guess the best thing, that's the question I have. What's the defense going to be?
Yeah.
Who's going to be playing defense? You know, the whole secondary. And last year, they were pretty porous at times. I mean, Alabama scored in 2 plays on the second half, and they just did not play very well the second half and had trouble stopping a lot of people. So I just the performance against the defense and the whole team had against Missouri last year was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it's kind of a wait and see for me. Let's see, you know, how this team, because every year the team's different. There's no question.
Yep.
And can they recover that pride that they seemed to lose at the end of last year? Now, I know they won their bowl game. Nico looked good in the bowl game. So there is that.
Yeah.
But they're going to play some very good teams.
Of course, this is a little bit of a downtime right now in college football as we're all gearing up for Dallas coming up here in about 3 weeks or so. And we will be there. But that does also have time to feature some coaches. And that's exactly what Joel Klatt has been doing today. His conversation with Deion Sanders came out. I have not heard that, but I reference it because Steve Sarkisian was the feature last week. If you've not heard it, it is worth listening to because Sark is really articulate, very thought out, knows what he's talking about, and there is no doubt what kind of pedigree he has with a commonality and success, although different ways, from USC with Pete Carroll to Tuscaloosa and Nick Saban. Here is a little bit of what Coach Sarkisian had to say on the 2 men.
You figure out who you are, and then you try to act in accordance to who you are as consistently as possible so everybody knows what to expect. And I think that's the beauty of having the opportunity to work for those 2 guys. Mm-hmm. They're drastically different, but they figured out who they were. Pete Carroll wasn't following Bill Parcells in New England anymore, trying to be, like, how do I be Bill Parcells but still be Pete Carroll? He didn't have to do that anymore, right? Nick Saban figured out who he was. I see so many coaches now that left those trees of those 2 guys that tried to be Pete Carroll, tried to be Nick Saban, and failed miserably because they weren't trying to be themselves, but still hold on to some of the premises of the things that were really good in that program. And like I said, I feel like I've been fortunate to work for 2 amazing men in our sport that have been tremendous, and the life lessons I learned from them well beyond football that I've been able to apply, but apply in a way that fits me, so there's a consistency to the approach that I give every day.
That is a little bit of Steve Sarkisian. Did also later on get asked, is there anything in common between the 2 other than winning, obviously, between Pete Carroll and Nick Saban?
dramatically different personalities. Here's Pete Carroll. He's bouncing around. He's chewing gum. He's playing catch every day. He's got his gloves on. He's creating an environment of energy, and the guys are flying around. Here's Nick Saban. It's like the methodical regiment, the discipline of this is how we're going to go about our business, and this is the approach. Okay? But in the end, they're both striving for the exact same thing, which is being champions. They're both highly competitive, two of the most competitive humans I've ever been around, and they're both extremely successful. But what I came to find out in my time, having been with Coach Carroll, then I get back with Coach Saban, and asking those questions were, if you look at their careers, the second half of their careers is when they really took off.
Yeah, I would argue way more successful than the first.
Not even close, right? And both of them right around 50. And then the last 20, 22 years, they're both 72, have been the greatest years of their careers. Well, why is that? What happened? And so I asked them both the exact same question and really got the exact same answer. They figured out who they were. And then they coached who they were rather than trying to be something that they're not. And because when you try to be something you're not, when adversity strikes, the real you comes out, and then everybody around you like, who the hell's that guy? Like, that's not who he was yesterday and the day before, but all of a sudden, here's this guy that comes out. And I think that, for me, was probably the biggest thing because, remember, I was 34 years old. I was the head coach at the University of Washington. I didn't know what the heck was going on. One day I was like this, the next day I was like this. I was, at that time, and I use this analogy, I was a thermometer. I was walking into whatever the situation was, whatever the temperature was, that's how I responded. And I've gotten to now, I'm a thermostat. I set that temperature for how I want it to be every day, and then others can either buy into that temperature or not.
Psychologists came up with that.
That's immediately where I went.
100% his therapist came up with that. It works, though. It's worked. He's done a great job. The guys, I respect him tremendously. To have the issues he had and to come out on the other side and smelling like he is, and the job he's done, he did at Alabama, the job he's doing at Texas, when they hired some good coaches that couldn't fight that system over there. And here he is. He's coming out, made the playoffs. Highly respect that guy and what he did in Tuscaloosa, but what he's doing now in Texas as well.
One other little part that we've talked quite a bit about is the month of December. The month of December is just crazy. And it's only going to get worse this year because there'll be more people like Texas and Alabama and Michigan and Washington last year that had to go through this while their teams are trying to compete for a national championship. There's going to be more teams, obviously, with 12 teams for a 12-team playoff. So, Coach Sarkisian had this to say about the month of December in the college football world.
That month was really difficult and, quite frankly, a little out of control. I'm hopeful moving forward that we can get the timing of this a little bit better. I've been a proponent all along of moving signing day up to that first Wednesday prior to the conference championship game, so all of your high school kids can sign. That gets put to bed
before a portal.
And then the portal can open that Monday after that conference championship weekend. And then what I would say, you can't enter the portal as long as your team is still in the college football playoff. Because I just don't know how you have those conversations with your kids as you're trying to get them ready to play a game that next week of who's going to be in, who's going to be not. Because to me, the 4, 5, 6 kids that you're talking to, that's taken away from the other 114 kids on your roster and their ability to try to go achieve something that is special, unique, and great with an opportunity. So,
what do you think about that idea?
Makes sense. A lot of these things make sense until you hear somebody else. I'd like to hear other arguments.
The only feedback I would give, Coach, on that is from an academic side, you're talking about at least 2 teams that you're saying the portal is closed till January 20th. And it's
Well, I mean, they transfer all the time. I mean, you might be right, but I don't know.
I mean, for the most part, I like what he's suggesting, especially moving up the signing period on the high school, because the hay's in the barn for 99.9%.
Heck, most of them have already committed.
That's what I'm saying.
They committed so much earlier than they.
So that Wednesday before we go into championship weekend, I think is perfect. Although there's probably going to be some turnover and changeover and coaches fired, and I get that.
Well, I'm hoping that the portal. I think the portal should be just once a year anyway. I don't think it should be in December. That's just me.
What, just the spring? Mm-hmm. Just the spring. Mm-hmm. So even if you want to bolt at the end of said year, that would just penalize the kid.
How is it penalizing anybody, him staying in school? I mean,
because it doesn't help your team that you're with, because you're wanting to go, and you've got to wait on April.
Yeah. And you get to, finish school. There's a novel idea. I mean, I don't think you just should be the portal should. I don't think that. To me, the portal should be almost based on individuals, especially with they're making the money they're making now. If you take money, you shouldn't be able to leave just anytime you want to. That makes sense too, but we'll see.
Ryan Day spoke to the media last week. I wanted to play a portion of it, and I don't know if you heard Ryan Day last week, the Ohio State's head football coach, on the recruitment of one Caleb Downs.
I think we played it last week.
Did we?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple other things, including expectations. We talked to Tim May, who was in the press conference, and talked about that part of it, but certainly there is high expectations there for Ryan Day up in Columbus.
Well, that's what happens when your alumni spends $15 million on recruits. They expect something good to happen.
You would think. Your phone calls are certainly welcome at 256-576-4977. That is the telephone number. Let's take an early timeout. We're live here from Woody Anderson Ford. We'll take a pause right now and come right back here on this Monday edition of The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey folks, Bobby White here for Woody Anderson Ford. Get ready to experience the ride of your life with our summer lineup. First up, the 2024 Bronco Sport. We've got nearly 75 to choose from. Bronco Sport is built for adventure with its rugged design, all-terrain capability, and advanced tech features. And right now at Woody Anderson Ford, you get $1,750 in total cash back. And yes, we do have the Bronco Badlands Edition in stock. Need something bigger? Check out the award-winning Expedition. Perfect for families and summer vacation. It offers spacious comfort, top-notch safety features, and plus, we've got 24 Expedition financing as low as 2.9% for up to 72 months. And for all you truck lovers, we've got the 2024 F-150. America's favorite truck, delivers unmatched power and innovative features, and we've got financing as low as 3.9% for 60 months on F-150. Plus, these are the final hours of no payments for 90 days on select models, including Expedition, Bronco Sport, Explorer, and more. These offers are with your good credit, and they end July 8th. Come on in to Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. This summer, make Cheeseburger Bobby's your go-to spot for great food. Try their bucket list burger, 2 beef patties, fried egg, bacon, onion ring, 3 slices of American cheese, Bobby sauce, and topped with a pickle. Their fresh, hand-breaded chicken tenders are a fan favorite, and the chili cheese dog with fries will make you think you've died and gone to hot dog heaven. Cheeseburger Bobby's, 2785 Carl T. Jones Drive. Order online at cheeseburgerbobbies.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio and have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Final call for phone calls. Wish I had a camera on those of you looking at the radio. A little odd when I say that at 5:22. But it is blame Tennessee and Texas A&M, all right? Game 3 of that best-of-3 series comes up tonight. We'll have the coverage for you from a sweltering Omaha. There was a heat warning up in...
You know, I was wondering who made the choice for Tennessee to wear their black uniforms during that game.
Yeah.
And thank goodness for whoever made that decision, they won.
Yeah, yeah.
Because if I was playing and we lost.
Yeah, I would immediately go to.
Who's the.
Yeah. Yeah.
That made that decision. It had to be, what I was thinking, it had to be some kind of total. These are
strictly mojo.
Yeah.
Strictly, we're undefeated.
100%. Yeah.
By the way, in case you are wondering, Texas A&M has lost 2 times in a row, twice already this season, but they didn't do their first back-to-back losses until May, the first weekend in May when they lost at LSU 2 out of 3 games, and that was back-to-back losses. Then they also lost back-to-back games in Hoover at the SEC baseball tournament. That's been it. But we're also getting a Game 7 tonight between Edmonton and Florida. I keep saying Miami, but that arena is not in Miami. Anyway, it's...
they're not the Miami Panthers.
No, the Florida Panthers. Game 7 comes up tonight. Interesting series there as Florida darted out 3-0, and all of a sudden Edmonton has got themselves quite a bit ahead of steam. They have gone on a 3-game winning streak of their own. We'll see what happens tonight. Puck will drop, I believe, a little after 7 down there in Fort Lauderdale, not Miami. Oklahoma made some news over the weekend, kind of got buried with all of the news going on and people on breaks. Well, Oklahoma has agreed to a new 6-year contract with their football coach, Brent Venables. the new contract. It was already approved. It was approved late Friday by the Oklahoma Board of Regents. Will keep Venables through the 2029 season. The total deal is worth $51.6 million.
You know why?
That's exactly where I was going. Why would you do that now? What benefit?
I mean, where was he going?
Unless you think he is really the guy.
Well, even then, why?
Total value of $51.6 million guaranteed to Venables through the 2029 season. It added his previous deal gave him $43.5 million. So
again, why? I don't get it.
I don't get that either. A lot of recruiting going on, and Auburn flipped a 4-star tailback from Penn State to the Plains. A 4-star running back in Alvin Henderson is the young man's name. Now, he is ranked as the 55th overall player from ESPN 300, decommitted from Penn State, and gave his verbal pledge.
Where is he from again?
To the Tigers. Where is Mr. Henderson from? Elba, Alabama, the 4-star running back from.
He had no business going to Penn State.
I know.
It snowed. He wouldn't know what was going on. He'd go home.
I keep waiting for that to happen.
I mean, if he from Elba,
for Quinshon Judkins at Ohio State for that first cold weather game, and all of a sudden, where's Oxford, Mississippi?
Yeah. Well, I hope the kid does well, but I really have not heard good things about him off the field. So I'm hoping that the change in, scenery will do him good.
We'll see.
Because, you hate to hear that about anybody.
We had Tim May on last week, and he was at this press conference that I referenced and did ask about expectations, and they are very, very lofty.
Well, of course, I told you why.
Yeah.
You spend that much money, they want something to happen and happen now.
The expectations every year are the same. I mean, it's just the truth. When opening press conference, I said you got to beat the team up north and win every game after that. That's just the expectations. And when you come up short, you got to figure out a way to get those things fixed. I think we have done that. But the expectations are the same every year. Pressure's the same every year. I just like the pressure when you got a really good team behind you. So that's what we got right now. And, we know it's going to be a long season. We know what we're working towards. But I will say this about this team. Well, we've been talented. There's been times in the past we've been talented. I don't know since I've been here if we've been this talented and this experienced together with guys that have played a lot of football, 4th and 5th year guys, and that does matter.
Kiss of death.
So I did play. So there was a follow-up after Ryan Day just blurted out the recruitment. I know I played that last week, but for those of you that did not hear it here, I'll play.
We'll see. We talked about the recruiting process, the first time around, and more specifically the second time around. And so he's been around a little bit just to get a feel for it. We did very little in the spring. We did, I think we pitched them an option or something like that in the spring just to kind of get them going. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. We don't have a specific plan right now, but we do want to introduce him to that. Just the same thing like Lorenzo Stiles has played receiver. He did that at Notre Dame. He's out there a little bit just kind of learning. It's healthy. You're seeing it from the other side of the ball. This time of year, you can get away with that a little bit in the preseason. Where it goes, we'll see. But you just never know. And we're trying to put some contingency plans in place because it could be a long season.
In other words, they're worried about depth at running back in a big way to be doing that. I know this. The guy took a punt return and looked like he'd been doing it all his life.
Yeah. But, I mean, in a punt return, you've got a way to angle around. You don't have all of those bodies right in front of you. When you
the hell you don't? You got 22, 21.
Well, there's a little more room.
It's all vision. If you can return a punt,
so it doesn't. So you're telling me it does not matter between punt return or tailback.
No, either you have vision or you don't have vision. Now you could have punt return vision without tailback vision, but it's obvious a kid played tailback in high school, and it has great vision. So it's not like it's
no doubt his ability.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, but vision is everything when it comes to tailback. If you have one and not the other, you to make it in the NFL, to be an NFL running back, you have to have three things.
Just three?
Yeah, well, three especially. You got to be a little bit of a nut, because if you're not a little bit of a nut, you're not going to make it, because those guys are big.
Uh-huh.
And then you have to have vision, but you have to have the speed and the strength also, and so you have to have the gambit to up there play. You know, you look at Derrick Henry, the guy that big, and that guy has go watch him. He has just great vision, instincts, and you can't play running back in the next level without it. And you watch him on just the first punt return he does, he takes a yard. That's an innate ability. And if you can do that, you can do anything. I mean, there are actually people that can block in front of you. But it doesn't sound, man, if Ohio State doesn't, I mean, the coach is pretty much pumping they're going to be.
You like that expectations answer?
If they don't make the playoffs, he'll be down here doing a show with us. Oh, God.
Well, we've had plenty of talent on this team, but not compared to this year.
No. Well, heck, yeah. I mean, they ought to have talent. They did a good job in the portal. There's no question, and we'll see how it goes.
This is the comment that I played last week.
You know, we felt like coming out of the spring that James and Sam both did a nice job. And, you know, we're going to have to play them, and they're going to have to, you know, take on a little bit of that. You know, we have, started having conversations with Caleb Downs. That was part of the recruiting process of possibly, you know, doing a little bit of running back as well. It's something that he wanted to do. So we've been having him in some of the meetings and some of the individual drills as a possibility there, if, you know, needed so down the road to continue to build depth at that position. But, you know, I think, you know, we feel like, you know, if you have, you know, 4 strong running backs going into it, then, you know, that's going to be enough to carry the season. I do think that the quarterbacks will run the ball more this season, so that should take some carries away from them. But to your point, you know, James and Sam are going to have to step up to be guys that we can count on.
Yeah, I think listening to that again, it sounds like more tongue-in-cheek. He's playing safety.
Uh-huh. His recruitment.
Yeah.
His recruitment.
They promised him to play a little tailback. Well,
yeah, we'll look at it. We'll look.
More, yeah, if you play both ways, you get more NIL money. You know? It's hard enough playing one side of the ball. But I bet if Caleb Downs wanted to, he'd be a good one. And I guarantee you, he touches the ball at running back, 100%.
At some point?
Yeah. And then if they get hurt, they don't win the national championship. Then Ryan Day. Ryan Day's going to be down here with us.
Yeah.
I mean, gone are the days where, remember when Coach Bryant used to talk, you wouldn't think they're going to win a game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lou Holtz.
Yeah,
Lou Holtz in the more modern time, I would say Lou Holtz.
Well, Lou Holtz.
Yeah, the poor me's. Yeah.
In 1979 Sugar Bowl, Lou Holtz was against Coach Bryant, so they're not too far from each other.
ESPN Bet updated their odds on teams making the playoffs and teams not making the playoffs. For the first time since 2008, Alabama's odds at not making the playoffs is slightly better than making the playoffs. No is at a minus 145. Yes is at a plus 115. And my initial thought, Wes, was, are we sticking with 4 teams? But we're obviously going to 12. And my second thought was, well, certainly half the roster is left after Nick Saban, and that's not the case either. I feel pretty secure saying that this is the most talent that he has coached, And he has a proven
which games there are and all, but I think Alabama could lose three games and still be in the playoffs. I really do, 100%, depending on what the games are.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on how the games were played and what happened, right?
Yeah.
They lose by 3 touchdowns. Well, unless you're Ohio State, then it doesn't matter.
We found that out in a 4-team.
Yeah, playoffs. So. That's a joke. At home.
It just felt like much to do. It is a storyline because it is Alabama, but nonetheless, not making the playoffs is a slightly better favorite right now, according to ESPN Bet, than making the playoffs for Alabama. And they'd have to. I think you're right. I think they'd have to lose 3 games, and I don't see 3 losses on that schedule.
Well, I mean, you could argue Georgia, Oklahoma, and LSU or Missouri. I mean,
you think they're going to lose to Oklahoma?
No, I don't think they are. I mean, but you could, because you go to Oklahoma, right? They play in Oklahoma at Oklahoma. You never know what happens.
First time since Fran, right?
Yeah, I was there for that one. That's the one we came in, and Big C was dressed as a cowboy.
I thought he was dressed up as
No, Terry Bowden. That was that same year, but at the Auburn game.
Okay.
You know, he had a shirt on that says, "No, I'm not Terry Bowden." But the best was the cowboy because he dressed up and he had like the toy guns. This is for 9/11, I guess. He had the toy guns. His Alabama original managers shorts that
was after 9/11.
Was it after 9/11? But he came in. He had the pistols. I saw them. They weren't real, obviously. They were. You can tell they were.
Yeah.
And he had the rubber hat. It was as big as him, and the cowboy boots on with those Alabama shorts that they gave the managers back in 30 years ago. And I mean, my only big regret is I did not take a picture with him. I did take a picture with him but I was
Terry Bowden?
Yeah, and I was just looking at him like, you know, first of all, I don't know if it's for 9/11 or not. I think it was. But I don't know how he got in with the guns either way. I mean, because he's walking in the gate. Anyway, it's a classic picture from Big C.
Alabama's at Wisconsin, Camp Randall, the 3rd week of the year. That could be an interesting game.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a look at your ats are at Wisconsin, at Vanderbilt, at Tennessee, at LSU, and at Oklahoma.
Right.
And I would say you're going to be more prone to losing on the road than you would at home.
You would think, yeah. I just think that as dynamic as Jalen Milroe will be, I just think it's going to be hard.
In that running back room.
Oh,
let's not forget about the running back room.
The offensive line that could be the best offensive line in the conference. Could be. Not saying they are. Has an opportunity to be. And we'll see how dynamic the receivers are. And they're going to miss the boy.
Bond?
Yeah, Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond. They're going to miss him. There's no doubt. But who's going to take up the slack? And they have some kids down there, especially some of the incoming freshmen that I'm hearing. There's 3 guys. One's a tight end. But, you know, we heard a lot about O.J. Howard for 2 years, and then the 3rd year he exploded.
Yeah.
It takes a minute. I mean, it's a lot on a young guy playing with, he's used to playing with boys, and all of a sudden you're playing with men. It's a whole different story, especially in Southeastern Conference. So it's going to be interesting to see how those guys develop, and they will have to develop if they want to be in the playoffs.
Fair enough. But I think we know more about this Bama team than we don't know, especially what's coming back, and even with the coaching changes and all of that. I wanted to end with this. Ross Dellinger wrote earlier today, the Transformative Committee is currently meeting in Naples, Florida, and evidently yesterday there was a room with 5 people in it yesterday. The NCAA president, and Charlie Baker, and the commissioners from the Big Ten, Big 12, ACC, and SEC. Well, it wasn't told to all of the commissioners that was happening. In fact, Ross was in the first floor and said, hey, they're meeting upstairs. And one of the commissioners said, who's meeting upstairs? And then Ross said, Charlie Baker, the SEC, ACC, Big 12, and Big 10. And he said, well, of course they are. That ought to show you right there the difference between us and them. So the split in the NCAA Division I had a very noticeable look in a conference of just Charlie Baker and the SEC, ACC, Big 12, and Big 10. And everybody else was down below on the first floor commiserating with Ross Dellinger. Just kind of one of many signs that a split is very real on the Division I level. That is going to wrap us up here from Woody Anderson Ford. Coming up next is our coverage of the College World Series. In fact, you know what? Next Monday, we'll formally welcome in Texas and Oklahoma. That's officially on Monday.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed precision overhead garage door service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked